light is on, use light. Did you get the little box thingy on?
I haven't got that far.
Oh.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm here. I'm just fixing some stuff real quick. Okay.
There's only 2 people. So don't worry. Just say hi to Linda Doll.
Hi, Linda. Okay. I'm literally on at a time that I'm not normally on.
Tell them why. Tell them you had a bad morning.
I'm having a bad morning. And since I'm having a bad morning, this is how I distract myself. Anyway, hi guys, Tiffany here. Welcome to my quilting life. Today's Friday morning at the, what is it, the 30th? Today's the 30th already. Wow. So it's September 30th, Friday morning. It's 7 a.m. I've been up since 4:20-ish a.m. with a bad stomach ache. I am working through it though. That's what I'm doing because that's the only thing I know how to do is when I'm in pain and I'm struggling, this is my happy place. This is my zone. This is where I forget the rest of everything. Although some things this morning are hard to forget because, anyways. I'm working in here. I'm working on my work in progress, which is my scrap quilt that I am making that Thumper is currently laying on. But if you guys remember, Wednesday evening I was making blocks, and I've tried a few more since. So I've been making these big, huge scrap blocks with just lots and lots of scrap fabric. Pretty much a whole box of multiple people send me scraps all the time. I don't ask for them, they just send them. So when I get scrap boxes, I totally just pile it up, usually, and then I little by little I take all their boxes, dump them in one, and little by little I clean it up and, cut it up, iron it, put it away, turn it into, pre-cuts, fat quarters, whatever. Most of the time, the first thing I do is I pull out the yardage, I pull out the big cuts, I pull out charm packs, jelly rolls, whatever they send. I usually get that put away quick, but it's the small scraps or string scraps or things like that that I take a bit of time to press them, trim them, cut them, put them wherever they need to go in pre-cuts. But this time around, I decided to take the box from the previous few, I guess we'd call them shipments of scrap fabric from you guys out there. And I put it all together and I decided to take that box instead of trimming it all and cutting it down. I decided to just start sewing it together. So this is what has become so far of me just sewing together the scraps in randomness, making blocks, not making blocks, just throwing in random stuff throughout. And now today, I started yesterday, but I made some more blocks because I have a feeling this is not going to be as big as I'd hoped for. But yesterday, I started putting them together as an example to show you that making these blocks, how they're going to look, and then I'll show you how I put them together to create the rows to make the quilt. But the first thing I need to do is move the cat because he's on it. But before I move him, I'm going to show you where he's, hanging out, because you're going to want to see that I put my quilt on the floor and there's the cat. I covered his bed, which is on the other side of Scott's leg, and put him, he just laid right there because he's, being covered by his bed. So we're going to go ahead and, yeah, he's not happy, but I'm going to move him so I can hold this up and show you in 2 seconds. No, I'm going to give it a second. I wanted to say hi to everybody now that people are coming in. All right, so we got Sylvia, Dale, Katie, Elizabeth, Ginger, Marie, Lynn, Carla, Scrunchions, Polly. So you guys are, those of you that are here now, it looks like are my morning viewers, because some of you aren't here in the when I'm on for So Sundays at 5 p.m.
A lot of the out of the country people, like when
Yep.
it's 3 in the afternoon there.
Oh, so they get to watch because.
Yeah.
All right.
They don't normally catch the others.
So here is two rows of blocks. I think like 4 blocks across, and then 2 down. So this is what it will look like when you start puzzling them together and creating the size. Right now it's not very big. I forgot what I measured it at, but I was like going for king size. And I'm going to add more to it probably because unfortunately it's not coming out the size I had hoped. Right now it is, I'm going to do some quick math in my head. 8 and 8 is 16, 6, carry the 1, that's 6, 76 across. So right now at this time it's 76 inches wide. So I'm just going to keep going, adding downward until it's a certain amount, and then I'll add to the side because it's a puzzle. So I'm just puzzling it together as I go. So I'm just going to move this out of the way.
Tell him now that his spot's open, he's going back to it.
Yep.
It's his spot.
Yep, now that his spot's open, he's making his way. I got to move my Sculliver project, though, because I really need the ironing board. Just sit over there for now. Yep, too many work in progresses going on. Everything's just scattered around. All right, I'm just going to open this up onto the ironing board so that I have a general of where I'm going and what I'm doing. Okay, so first things first, throw pile on floor. And grab a block and grab a second block. And as you can see, wow, these are literally almost the same size. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of fabric and run it. Piece of fabric. Let's see. Oh, those aren't long enough. Definitely not long enough. There we go. Let's use this. I'm going to grab my rotary cutter. I'm also going to trim that about the size I need. I'm going to fold this because the selvage is on it. And I'm going to straighten this piece. I know I have this big old pile right here too, and it's quite messy. I'm just going to go ahead and cut the selvage off here. And I pulled from my scraps also and put it in all this. So there's a little bit of my scraps now mixed in. I'm going to go ahead and put these 2 pieces right sides together real quick. And I'm going to sew it on here. Then I'm going to go ahead and trim off this end. I'm just going to rough trim it because the ruler is an awkward angle if I do that. Press it back. And then I know that this piece right here, I left it sitting in the position it was.
How big are your blocks roughly?
They're roughly, let's see, 17 or 18 inches by 16, 17 inches. You know, they're random. I'm going to cut 1/8 of an inch off of this. So I'm literally just going to line my ruler up, cut 1/8 of an inch off, because that's what my eyeballs see is just a tiny little sliver. And now they're exactly the same size. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew these two together and then press it and then grab another block off the floor and hook it to it. And I'm going to show you, because the ironing board is got the other piece, I'll show you how I'm measuring when I get to it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and press this back. And now that it's sewn, this piece right here is a little bit bigger by, like, I don't know, tiny, but I need a straight line. So what I'm going to do is grab my big ruler, line it up with the bottom block, the original. It's nice and straight on that. And line it up, squaring this edge and down here with this, and literally trimming off not even an eighth. It's like not even an eighth. Making that the size it needs to be. So now I'm going to continue going sideways. And now that you guys are here with me, I can just move that out of the way. We're going to grab another one. So let's take this block right here. And as you can see, it's taller by 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to grab another strip. This is what the strings were for, saving the longer strips, is that way I can connect the blocks together. So that way they're all the same size. So again, I'm just going to lay this here and I'm going to rough cut. Actually, I'm not even going to rough cut it. I'm going to actually cut it to the same size as the block. Everything's lying flat. Need a rotary cutter. Get rid of the selvage on that and then come down here to the bottom, lining it up with the block and making the cut. So what I'm going to do, right sides together, sew these two together, press it, and then hook the next block to it. But I will trim 1/8 of an inch or so off of the other block. This is so freeing. My chair is so in my way. All right. And the fabric shifted ever so slightly. I'm just going to lay this right here nice and flat. Let's use a ruler. All right, I'm going to press that back. I'm going to lay this here. Obviously, I can't lay anything super flat because there's stuff in the way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark it by cutting.
They all enjoyed your video yesterday.
Ooh, awesome. I'm going to
You did a great job.
lay it flat, and I'm going to go ahead and make a cut. I'm going to turn the block. I'm going to pull that away and line the ruler up with it, lining the ruler up with the bottom of the block, and trimming away the excess. And now it's the same exact size, right sides together, and sew it on. And notice I'm not pinning anything because I don't need to. You can if you want to, but as long as the row is on a table or a surface, it should be fine from preventing it from, pretty much pinning it prevents it when it starts yanking and falls off the table. It prevents it from pooling and distorting your fabric. I'm not worried about that because I'm putting it on a table. All right, so now I'm going to press this back. And then we're going to see by laying it on the quilt top. Looks like I can do another block. So let's see. Yep, another block. And then once I have another block, then I can decide where it's going to sit on here. Let's grab this one. All right. Is this one the size I need? Almost. So we need to add to it to make it the size that I need. And it doesn't look like it needs. Oh, I could put it this way and add, well, let's see right now, plus the 1/4 inch. So I'm going to lay them flat next to each other. Lay my ruler on here. This is how you get your number. I'm going to put the ruler a 1/4 inch over the other block, the one that I'm going to be adding to, and it looks like I need a 2-inch strip to make this taller. So I'm going to go ahead and find a piece of fabric. I'm going to cut off a 2-inch strip. And I'm just going to cut to an 1/8 just to be sure, because I can always trim it down.
How big are you hoping to make this thing total?
Pretty big. I was hoping it would be king size, but it's definitely not. It's definitely not king size just yet.
Well, you can keep going. You got plenty of scraps.
Yep. Anyway, I'm going to lay this on here. Have it right sides together. I'm just going to go ahead and cut this end off. And everything that I'm cutting off this size is just going into a different scrap pile now that I'm at the stage that I am of putting it all together. So I'm going to piece this on here. So we're going to have to get that measurement too. Oh, I thought my thing died. Yeah, we need to call today about that. All right. So this should now be the same size as this. And look at that. The 2 1/8 was perfect. So I'm glad I cut that extra 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so now to connect the two together. It's definitely not long enough, but to keep the scrappy going, we're going to grab, come on, where's something I can use? Here's a pieced piece. Just going to lay this here and go, oh, hey, look, it stops at the top of this white. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut that off of there, just like that. Cut it at the seam, though, or else that's on there. And now I'm just going to put this between the two, a nice pieced piece. And I need bobbin already. It's a good thing I rolled 2 the other day. Yesterday. I rolled 2 extra, knowing that I was going to go live again and show you guys how I put this together. All right. I'm going to go ahead and press this back. And then attach this one. So I'm going to put it right sides together. They're exactly the same size. Again, keeping the row on my desk, which makes it easier. And I'm also trying to make sure that my my seams stay facing the way that I press them. So that way nothing flips and turns, because this is a scrappy quilt. So we definitely want it to still be flat, just like any other quilt. Okay, I'm going to press this back. And now here is a row, but this row is not the size it needs to be. It needs to be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to turn the camera over to the ironing board so that I can show you how I'm adding each row on here. Oh yeah, go ahead. So here at the ironing board is my piece, and you can see that it hangs over quite a bit on one side, and I'm going to pull it to this side just so that it's easier for you guys to see. I'm going to go ahead and say I want this on this top right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my piece up here, and I am going to line up this end over here, straighten everything out like this. It's all nice and straightened out. There, each end is equal. And then we're going to come to this side and determine how big of a piece we need. So I'm going to slide the whole thing down equally. Just going to grab two ends, keep them together, because I don't have a floor to do this. Once it gets big enough, it doesn't fit on the floor in here. And I'm definitely not dragging you guys to the living room. So those ends are still matched. I'm matching the quilt up as I go. No, that's fine. Just matching it up as I go. Using my hands and going, okay, that's laying flat. That's where it needs to be. And then I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to lay it here and go, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a little bit more than a quarter. So probably 5, and we're going to see right now. We're going to cut 5 1/2, because if it hangs over, we can trim it. So I'm going to need a 5 1/2 by however. Huh? Beth is my friend. She is Goody Goods on YouTube.
She has a channel, right?
Yes, she has a YouTube channel. All right, so now that's not big enough, but 2 pieces together will be. Let's see how tall this is. That's the perfect height. So that's a good height. Now I just need to add another piece to it so that it is the size I need. Let's put lemons next to it. Is this one?
The things you're allergic to?
Yep. So I'm going to sew the 2 of these together. Okay. Oh, you could turn the camera back over this way.
Okay.
So I sewed the 2 of these together. Just going to press it back. And then I'm going to trim it to, this is how we know. I'm going to take my big ruler. My block is pretty flat right here on the ironing board. And it is 17 1/4 inches. So I'm going to straighten one side. This is probably a very oversized ruler for doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I'm going to turn it around and cut 17 1/4 inches. So, turn it over this way. 17 1/4 right here. And again, these pieces can be used for other stuff. So I'm just going to put that aside. And then I'm going to sew this on here. And it's exactly the size it needs to be. So I'm going to use my iron, grab the row, sew this on. I'm going to put the row on the table, though, because if you don't, it's going to fall and yank and pull and disorient things. And that was exactly cut to the right size. I'm going to press it back, and then we're going to lay it on top of the other row and sew them together, because now they're exactly the right size. Just like that. This is how you puzzle. You just put it on there and make it till the size it's supposed to be. So now, I'm just going to put these two rows right sides together. Just like this, right sides together. Obviously, you can't see totally over here, but you get the picture. No, that's fine. I'm good. Look at that, exactly the same size. I am so good at puzzles. And for this, I shall sit on my fanny because, this needs to go on my lap and not hang on the floor. Again, I'm not pinning anything. I'm just sewing it on because it was literally made to size. My foot pedal keeps disappearing. Okay, here we go. One long seam. Making sure to keep all of my seams that I pressed the way that I pressed them on the way down. The cool part about scrap quilts, especially this kind, is there's no rules. You're just having fun and enjoying your time at the sewing machine and going through a lot of thread. Just adjust it as I go. And then if you want to line the ends up like this and hold them, again, they're the same size, just making sure everything's nice and straight. A little back tack at the end, and a whole nother row has been connected. So let me press this back.
Have you ever made a fanny pack?
No, I have not made a fanny pack. Nope.
She has a pattern for it, but she's daunted by the process.
Oh, shouldn't be too hard. It should be the same as any other bag, honestly. It might be, if it's one with binding on the inside, it might make that a little easier, honestly. But if it's one like Jess at Okla Roots has done, because I've seen one of hers, that was complicated. I think I saw Sarah Lawson make one too with So Sweet. Or what is that channel? Yeah, So Sweet. Yeah. Seen lots of tutorials on them. So I'm pretty sure you can find a tutorial on it. If you have a pattern for it, just type it in the YouTube search.
It must still be popular in Europe places. The fanny pack went out of style here.
No, it's not. It's in style and you're not paying attention.
Oh.
Fanny packs are super popular again.
Again? Okay,
Yep.
well, they went out of style for a long time.
Yes, they did. But now they're back. All right.
Well, it's weird how different countries have different styles. I was just saying, maybe in Europe it's still an easy.
One more. Press on this end. And then I'll show you guys what 3 rows looks like together. So there's the row I just attached on the top. And you can see super duper scrappy. Look at that. Even from the back side, it looks awesome. There's so many seams. So there is 3 rows together now. So let's go on to another. Just going to lay this up here for now. And start with another row. So here's some bigger blocks. This one's like 18.5 inches by 19 inches. So it's pretty big. Some are big, some aren't as big. Oops, I stepped on this guy. He got wrinkled.
I think I used to use a fanny pack. Is that what gym shorts all year? My phone's always pulling them down. Phones are too big these days. They fit in the pockets of gym shorts.
Yeah.
I need me a fanny pack.
I mean, it wouldn't be a horrible thing. All right, so I'm laying these next to each other, seeing the best way without cutting off too much. And it looks like this position is the best because it's cutting off a bit of that one. So what I'm going to do, and I know I'm working with a messy space right here. So I'm going to lay this flat right there, and I'm going to lay this right here. And it looks like I'm going to be taking about a little bit over an inch off. So I'm just going to line my ruler up and give it a quick cut so I know where I need to cut it. Then I'm going to lift this up here, grab my other ruler because it's longer, and lay it on where I cut just now, making sure it's straight with the top of the block, straight with the bottom of the block, and then cut this off. And see, this is thick enough to use again. So for now, it's just going to go in that pile. I did notice that right here needs to be straightened up. It's just that blue. It's just sticking out ever so slightly. All right. So this block and this block are going to go next to each other. So, oops, was it that way or was it this way? It was this way. There we go. Okay. Now I need a strip to go in between. So I'm going to find something that almost long enough. Let's add to it with this piece. Oh, that's perfect. All right. I'm just going to hook 2 pieces together because I'm utilizing even the small ones. I'm going to fix this by straightening it out real quick because one was bigger than the other. They weren't exact, but now they will be. There we go. Press it real quick. And then hook it to this one. So I'm gonna, ooh, that's like the same exact size. Look at that. My eyeball measurements worked. Slide the darn chair out of the way. press it back. Hope you all are having a good morning, and welcome to all those of you who are coming in, or good afternoon wherever you are. All right, now the two of these are the same exact size. They are going to go together. Just got to line it up. Oh, maybe it's a tad bit short. But you know what happens when it's a tad bit shorter? Turn it sideways. That side's perfectly lined up. This side is a tad bit shorter. Guess what we do? We trim it. Go ahead and trim off the excess. Okay, pressing it back. Doesn't matter which way you press it. If your one fabric is darker than another, oops, I didn't mean to hit the mic, then press it towards the darker one. And now to add another piece.
Well, tell them just so they know you did work on this a lot yesterday and this morning.
Yes, I did work on this yesterday and this morning. I was making the blocks.
They're saying it's going together quickly.
Yeah, once you make the big blocks, it goes together perfectly.
Yeah, they didn't see you all.
Yeah.
You've been working since 4 this morning.
Yeah, I've been in here since 4:30 this morning. As soon as I got up and my stomach was hurting, I went outside, did my daily smoking thing, whatever. And then I came back in and I came straight in here. I didn't eat or anything because my stomach was messed up. So I decided, you know what? I'm just going to sew. And that's exactly what I've been doing all morning. Right now I'm trying to, I think if I add to the bottom, I'm going to do this guy because I like the colors. I'm going to add to the bottom of this one. Some blocks I didn't make as big, like here's a couple that I started and I just haven't added to them, I could put them all together and, make something. But yeah, here's a couple blocks that weren't fully finished because I've just been trying to piece some stuff together and have fun. Okay, so we're going to add to this one with that. Ooh. Okay. I need my rotary cutter ruler. I need my ruler. I keep burying it. So I'm going to lay this on here and say, ooh, that's almost the right size. Cut it, sew it, and then get the right size. Notice my piece is way supersized. It's bigger than it needs to be. But I shall trim it to the size I need. Starting with making sure that this side is exactly the size. So I'm just cutting away the excess. It's very easy to do that. I'm only cutting away slivers, so there's not really much going to total waste. And then we're going to lay this. It's hard to, my big pile here. All right. I kind of want the bigger. No, I need to cut off the top. Right there. Yep. Okay. We're just going to trim this to size. So I'm going to.
One lady says you're like a child playing with your favorite toys. Yes, that perfectly describes you. 100%.
All right. Let's lay this on here, and I'm going to lay it equal with the other. You can use a bigger ruler if you need. I'm also looking at the line that I just sewed. So, string for another piece. And now we need one to connect the two. So let's go with, that matches already because I already did that piece. Let's do, did I already do one like this? No, I did not. So we're going to hook this guy to, nope, not long enough. No, let's not use that one. Let's hook this one to this one. All right. We're going to hook these two together, trim them up. Whether they're the exact size. Actually, they are already. It just needs to be pressed back and the ends need to be trimmed to size. All right. We're going to stick this right here. Oh, that isn't straight though on that side. Lay this on top of itself. It's bigger just barely. Folding it in half and trimming it. And then I'm going to trim this side just because I have a nice straight line now. There we go. Now I'll lay it on here. Move stuff out of the way. Everything's still flat. Just gonna put it right there. Put it where I want it to sit. Trim the end off. Trim the other end off. And notice I'm using up strings to do this because I got to put them together somehow. So if I have to build up, down, side to side, the longer strip pieces or strings help with that. So we're going to put this on here and then we'll attach the other piece. Maybe we can build out some of the other blocks that aren't big enough. Press it back. I'm going to trim just a tiny, tiny tad right here. Turn it back this way. And hook this to this.
How big is a king size?
For a king size quilt top, I would make a king size quilt top like 115 by 115 so you have really good hangover. But a king size mattress, just a traditional king, is 80 by 80. I can tell you guys all the sizes while I'm right here. A twin size mattress is 39 by 75, so you add 20 more inches both ways so that you have hangover. A twin XL is 39 by 80. Again, you're adding 20 inches to your width and your height. That way, because you're adding borders or whatever to make it bigger. But that's the size of the mattress. A full is 54 by 75. A full XL, which I think the UK does those sizes, is 54 by 80. A queen is 60 by 80. A king is 76 by 80. And the California king is 72 by 84. I do keep a chart, you know.
And when you put your quilt on a long arm, do you base down the sides?
Yes, I base down the sides, top and bottom when I'm long arm quilting. I base them as I go. So every time I roll the quilt up, I base the sides. I base the side that I ended on all the way down, and then I cut thread and go to the other side. And base that down and then start stitching. If you've watched any of my long arm quilting videos, you'll see how I do it. Well, sometimes you'll see it because a lot of times I put those in fast forward at the, halfway mark. All right, press it back. Okay, so I know for a fact I can add another another section. So what I'm going to do is connect two of these together. Notice I have a half hexie just sitting there.
That's cool.
Yep, I clean up over there, which had scraps too behind the camera. So I found these. They're already hooked to their sets. I was going to try to incorporate these as well. And fell. All right. So I'm going to hook the two of these together with a, I don't know, that's about, I'll do a really skinny piece. And it don't have to match. It could be whatever you want it to be. All right, so I'm going to trim this piece up. These are pieces left over from some of my quilt backs.
Any tips for quilting on a sewing machine?
Quilting on a sewing machine, patience, patience, patience. That's my number one tip. Because it can get frustrating. Well, at least for me it was. I 100% struggled with it. That's why I, told Scott, I need one of those things I keep seeing online called a long arm. He's like, what's a long arm? I said, it's a big, huge frame that we're going to take up the garage with. And he's like, no. he just kept saying no for the longest time. But my quilting, has over exceeded what I could have ever done on a sit down. So, all right, now to cut them. Were these almost the same size? Oh, they're exactly the same size. How did that? All right.
Do you start middle work way to edges?
Yes. When I do sit down, when I ever do, if I do free motion quilting on a sit down, I always start in the middle and then work my way out. I find that to be the easiest. All right. Let's put this on here. I'm going to press it back and add the bottom. And I think I'm going to put a side on it too before I connect it. I mean, after I connect it, I want to add to the side as well, because I want the block to be a little bit bigger. All right, just gonna trim it down. It wasn't completely exactly the same size, but it was almost. Visually looked like it until you sew it. And when I trim this stuff, I usually line up my ruler with my seam line because I know that that's going to be a straight line when I fold it back. So it's now pretty much the length or the height I need. Yep, it's the height I need. I just need it. I want another strip right here or right here other than the strip that I'm going to connect them with. So I got this pretty purple. I'm going to cut the selvage off this end real quick. Oops. It'd be nice if I cut straight, right? I'm just going to hook this on here. I'm actually going to put it on both sides, I think. Because it doesn't matter how many times I use the same fabric. This keeps happening. All right. I'm just running it on 5G. Okay. Oh, it's very blurry on 5G, though. Sorry, guys. Okay. I want a thicker.
Yeah, it's got a lot blurrier.
Ooh, so here's two right here that can go on it. I just need a little bit on this end.
That's weird that it's clear on the regular internet and blurry on the 5G, but our regular internet's terrible. Our 5G works better than our regular internet.
Yeah, I don't know. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to center this on here kind of and then cut it to size. Oh, I want it on this guy because this is the block I'm actually aiming for. And then I'm still going to use a string to connect them. That goes in that pile. This goes on this block. And press it back and then grab another string to connect the two. Put that back right there, and then grab another string to go between the two, a thicker one. So I'm going to use this guy right here. I'm going to cut him to size. Just like that. I'm going to sew it on this one first, and then I'm going to sew that one to this one. And then I'm still going to have to add to the end because obviously the row is not going to be completely long enough. I just have a feeling it's not long enough. And I could add to the opposite side. It doesn't matter what side I add to. Because there's no rules. It's all scrap. I'm kind of curious to know, since I was on Wednesday, how many of you went and grabbed a box of scraps and started sewing them together? Anybody start? Huh?
That is a good question.
Yeah, I'm curious. Have you just decided you wanted to go grab a box of scraps, no matter what they look like, and just start sewing them together? Even if it's just crumb piecing, which you guys all know that is a little bit different because those crumbs are all different shapes and sizes, so you're just making all sorts of little stuff. I'm doing big, but, you know, kind of curious. And if you're watching this as a replay, you can let me know in the comments after the video. All right, sew this on here, holding it nice and straight. I'm going to press it, and we're going to see how much more we need to add to it. Probably going to be a lot. Okay, so I'm going to move the iron. We're going to turn the ironing board. Let me turn the ironing board. Turn the camera to face the ironing board. And then I'm going to lay this way. You put that end kind of down, just like this. And even though some of this is directional fabric, I'm not really keeping up with the direction. I'm actually going to put these just right sides together. That way it doesn't fall. I'll line it up perfectly. And see what I need to add. And then we'll choose what end I want to add it on. All right. Slide it this way. And it looks like I need about 3.5 inches. So let's grab the ruler. Plus the 1/4 inch. So yeah, oh wow, I guessed that right. 3.5 inches. I think I'm going to add it to the opposite side though. So, because this side we added the 2 strips already. So if I go this way with it and then add to this side, that way there's a straight one on this side because this side has blocks at the end of it on the bottom one. So it won't be horrible. Is this 3.5? Oh, that's exactly 3.5. I kind of want just a smidge bigger than it needs to be. How tall was that? Not that size. Is it this size? Oh, is that it? No, that's a little too short. What about this piece? too short, but we'll add to it. How about that? So I'm going to hook this piece. Okay, come on. To a sliver off of this one. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut a sliver off of this one, the same exact size as I just cut that one. Of course, this is kind of messed up, so we'll straighten the one edge out. I'm going to hook the two ends together. See, no rules. We're just having fun. It doesn't have to be solid one-piece pieces to connect everything.
You ever get shoulder pain while sewing?
Yes, I do get shoulder and neck pain while sewing in the standing up position. When I'm sitting down, I stretch. So I get up and stretch often, or I get up and move around. I can't sit still for too long. I have to get up and move around. I'm a very anxious person, if you guys haven't noticed. All right, let's see. I need to be right there. I'm going to kind of just overcut it by like 1/8 of an inch. And then I'll grab my piece and sew it onto the end. So I'm going to make sure it's the size. Yep, I overcut it by just a smidge. So I'm just going to line it up right here and cut it to the right size.
You try going back on the internet? It's quite blurry.
Okay.
Well, I could have done that.
All right, guys, hold on 2 seconds. We're going to fix the internet, so you might drop out for a second.